I never want to forget about grand old Marvel, because Marvel really is what, when I first started collecting, like maybe 5 years ago, when I first started, Marvel was the shit, right? If we, of course, we were in the Infinity War, Endgame type of hype, and everything when Marvel was popping off. Iron Man was hot, Spider-Man was hot, Thor was hot, Thanos, whatever, right? So, but nowadays, things are a little bit different just because Marvel has experienced some bumps in the road lately. And I've actually been a little bit surprised recently. I actually did not go see this last night because Loki season 2 finale dropped. And that to me obviously took priority, which by the way was fantastic. Absolutely loved it. Fantastic. If you guys have not watched Loki season 2, please go watch it after the stream is over, because it is amazing. And I think you're really going to like it. It's fantastic. That said, the audience score for the Marvels has actually been pretty strong. And I'm surprised by that, because a lot of the reviews I've seen have said it's the worst Marvel movie yet. It's horrible, apparently. But I don't know. Everyone's going to be different. Some people love it. Some people hate it, whatever. I haven't seen it yet, so I don't have an opinion.
Okay.
But I will say, if this type of division and disappointment among at least maybe half of the fan base from what I've seen, or maybe less, 85% seem to like it right now, but a lot of people don't, regardless. If the disappointments continue and you have a lot of shows that seem mediocre, not as exciting as phases 1 through 3, are collectors going to start abandoning their Marvel collection that they currently possess, or abandoning getting new Marvel figures? So when Hot Toys announces new Marvel figures from new Marvel properties, are they going to stop picking those up? And that's the question. So Natalie, I would want to start with you on this one. When you start to think of some of the ones, I'll bring up some examples here. I think a lot of people have always wanted a female Mighty Thor figure. That's been one. But, Thor 4 wasn't super well received, right? It wasn't like the most popular film. And then, of course, you have figures such as this, right? Really badass character, amazing figure. But the film wasn't, it was good. I really liked it. I really thought it was great, but not everyone loved it. Not everyone thought it was the best thing, and the tightest thing that Marvel has done. And then, of course, you have other, characters like this, like Dina, which some people really love, right? And that's fantastic if you loved it. A lot of people didn't like Eternals. And if Marvel's pumping out disappointment after disappointment, and you're not really sure whether it's going to be good or not, are people going to start to lose interest in Marvel Hot Toys? What do you think, Natalie, about that?
I think I'm the perfect person to answer this question, to be honest. So the only thing I collected for the entire, since I think I started collecting in 2018, towards the end of 2018. And the only thing I collected was Marvel. I collected Hulk. Actually, my very first figure was Hulk, then Captain America, and then Iron Man. So obviously the three characters I addressed with most. So after that, I probably went way too far deep into Marvel, right? I needed to have every single version of every single character, and I think I went a little crazy. Ultimately, I ended up scaling back, selling a bunch of things, but I really landed on, all right, Marvel is my bread and butter. I'm not going anywhere outside of it. Come 2020, 2021, I watched streams, right? I was watching streams, and I would notice that everything I was watching on streams was all Star Wars related. I stopped watching it.
Mm-hmm.
I moved away. I was like, I don't really. And then before you knew it, I was completely disconnected from the collecting community, because there was nothing really good coming out. Nothing good coming out in the community. No good movies, no good shows. Everything that was good, it was okay. So I kind of stopped looking at the streams. I kind of stopped looking at everything in general. And it's not even just streams, but like the Reddits and the just sideshow in general. I stopped looking. So eventually I watched Ahsoka, and I watched or not Ahsoka, Boba Fett. I think it was Boba Fett. What
Book of
was
Boba Fett.
Was it Boba Fett where Luke was on there with Baby Yoda?
Yeah, that's Book of Boba Fett. Yeah.
Was that Book of Boba Fett or
yeah, it
Mando?
was. Yeah, I think it was the Book of Boba Fett became like Mando season 2.5
right.
at one point.
Yeah. So after I watched that, I was like, oh my God, they did that is amazing. I've never seen AI like in its glory. And so then of course I go to look it up, and I see a bunch of streamers talking about it. So I started looking again, and I got interested again. So I literally I'm the perfect explanation of I checked out of collecting. I stopped buying, ties. So my partner, she'll tell you, boxes stopped coming to the house, right? They just stopped. I had all the things I wanted. I was done. And then all of a sudden I started watching this other show, and then I was like, oh, Star Wars. So then I started watching Star Wars, and streamers that were talking about Star Wars, and I got re-engaged. So it was only after that point, and I've told you, Will, when you were here in Florida, you did a review about Luke, and I was like, oh my God, I got to get this. And what's funny is I never actually bought that one because I bought like 15 other things instead, but it was that one review or that one stream that you did. And so then I got excited again. But ever since then, the only thing I've bought from that point forward has been Star Wars. So now I've
So
completely
no
shifted
Marvel in the last
I-
like what year or
nothing.
two?
Actually, I lie. The last thing I bought was that Midas
Yeah,
because
that's
I've
it's Marvel. Yeah,
it is. Well, that's an Iron Man. So I
right,
bought
right.
Midas, that, and I bought the Iron Man Mark 6 with the gantry. Those are the only. So I really love Iron Man. A lot of people don't know that about me. I love Iron Man. So I don't really know if I'll collect Marvel a lot in the future, but those two things I really want. So I've wanted this for a very long time. I found it for a great price. So I bought it, and then the Mark 6 is going to ship soon. But outside of that, everything I've bought since then has been Star Wars. So I've kind of stepped completely back away. And so when you say, will they abandon if all of these poor properties continue? I think the answer is absolutely yes. I'm a die-hard Marvel fan. Me and my partner, my wife, we bond over Marvel. This collection thing that I do only works because she likes it too. So if we are talking about the failure of the series or the failure of their show, I don't know how much longer I can continue to say, hey, it's worth it, because she doesn't like any of this stuff anymore. And if she doesn't like it and I don't like it, what's the point of doing it? So I've had to
Right.
completely shift focus. And so I bought Star Wars stuff, and I was like, hey, watch this movie with me. It's Attack of the Clones. It's a really good movie. She's like, this is boring. I'm like, no, just watch it. We're going to have a good time. We're going to enjoy it. She does not like any of the old stuff. The new stuff she really likes. You and her would get along just fine.
See?
She loves Kylo Ren, loves all that stuff.
Natalie, I'm about to get in trouble. Attack of the Clones is not a good movie.
Oh my God.
It's not.
All right,
Sequels,
ladies and
though.
gentlemen, thank you all for joining the stream. You can all hang up now. Close
Force
it.
Awakens, though.
We're done.
Grail movie.
That's how she feels. She's like, this is stupid. She's like, but the Force Awakens one was really. I'm like, oh my God, no.
See, Ty, I knew I liked Ty. I knew Ty was amazing.
No, that was the moment that I brought out the divorce papers.
Right.
This is no, but anyway, I think there's probably a good balance between this, but Marvel's got to, they gotta fix what they're doing, man. It's not good. Like, I even stopped collecting, and I'm a diehard Marvel. I never collected Star Wars in my life until they started falling off. And then I was like, well, I got to collect something. My itch, it needed to be scratched. So I was like, Star Wars. And I just, like, a kid with something shiny, I just switched gears. So
yeah,
that's where I'm at.
Sense. Well, I got to ask you, Dean, I got to rope you into this conversation here. With Marvel sort of having their ups and downs, right? Of course, everyone seems to be loving Loki season 2. I got most votes said it was a 10 out of 10 for season 2. So people fucking love it. And I know people are asking in the chat, like I mentioned, that Loki will be coming eventually. We know it. But there have also been some bangers, right? We had No Way Home, which people really liked overall. I know Kiko doesn't love it, but a lot of people really liked it. Of course, we had Shang-Chi, which I think is just phenomenal film. I think it's one of my favorite movies, not just Marvel movies. I love Shang-Chi. I'm a huge Shang-Chi supporter. But so we've had some winners, but also some disappointments. Not all the shows have been bad. Of course, I didn't even watch Miss Marvel. She-Hulk, I think, was pretty rough, depending upon your opinion, but I didn't like it at all. Moon Knight, I thought, was pretty good. Winter Soldier and Captain America and Falcon, whatever, that was good, solid, right? But Dean, right now, the Marvel universe seems a little uninspired. And I think that's losing people. And I think there's a couple of ways. It almost is like phases 1 through 3 has become the original trilogy, like Star Wars. And then the new stuff has become like sort of the sequel trilogy for people. That's kind of how it started to become. And it's like you said, Natalie, I do feel like maybe like Marvel's sort of lackluster performance in recent years has sort of almost pushed collectors towards Star Wars because they want to buy something.
It's
but
very true.
It's almost like Marvel has been kind of not delivering in on everything, and people are like losing interest and like, well, I guess I'll just go to Star Wars, right? So, Dean, what do you think about that? I mean, there's a lot of thoughts here floating around, but what are your thoughts? Do you got a controversial opinion? Because I want to hear it.
I think both Star Wars and Marvel are on a downward trend right now.
Well, but Star Wars seems to be doing well with collectors despite that. I don't know what's going on. Like,
that's true. Well, I think
because
the Ahsoka show wasn't the greatest, but the characters in the Ahsoka show people love. Hera, Sabine, Chopper,
Sure.
Ezra. So they're gonna want those representations in their collection no matter what. Thrawn, people who don't even like modern Star Wars but love the books, the extended universe books now would want a Thrawn in their collection. Like it's kind of a no-brainer. So that kind of makes sense. But yeah, I think it's hard. I mean, we see it all the time. You pre-order a figure, you wait a year to get it, the hype is down. People cancel the pre-orders all the time because the hype is gone. And if people aren't even excited to see a movie that's brand new, why would they order figures from it? It's rough. I definitely think that there's going to be a lot of collectors just jumping ship and moving on to something else. Because if you're not even excited to see something, much less love it, I mean, why order a figure?
Yeah, you're exactly right, Dean. Well, Dean, what about the possibility of, say, DC gets their shit together, James Gunn creates a really compelling universe, and then Natalie, and then maybe you have DC.
Yeah, people have been begging for DC to get their shit together for years.
Right.
I mean, people were fucking still doing backflips for the Nolan trilogy. We're still seeing figures today for the Nolan trilogy.
Dude, yep.
Because people love it and people fucking buy it.
Yep.
And there are definitely fans of the first DCEU, right? I know a lot of people really love Superman. What's his name?
Which one?
The newest one.
Oh,
or most recent, rather.
You're talking about Clark? You said Superman? Clark Kent?
The actor.
Henry Cavill. Henry
Cavill. Thank you. Jeez. People really love Henry Cavill as Superman. I'm actually really disappointed they got rid of him. But I really enjoyed Ben Affleck's Batman. I know a lot of people didn't.
I liked him.
Yeah, thank you, Trimble does. I could not think of his name to save my life.
I know. I was over here like Superman.
I thought you meant like Clark Kent. And I was like,
Clark Kent, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, the only person who can be Superman.
Right, exactly.
Clark Kent.
Yeah. So and people really liked the newest Batman movie. It's just called Batman, right?
Right, the Batman. Yeah, with Pattinson.
Pattinson Batman. It seems, especially now, because we have Blue Beetle, then we have the Pattinson movies, then we have Jokers. It's like, do all these things fit in together? Like, I don't see how, because the Jokers takes place like in the 70s or something.
Right.
And then Pattinson Batman is like modern day, and then it's just everything feels so disjointed right now. But DC has a lot of characters people love and a very deep roster that they haven't even scratched the surface of. So yeah, if James Gunn can work his magic in the DC universe, I think people would definitely be happy to buy figures from it.
Right. I think so too. I mean, you got a lot of really rich characters in DC over there. I mean, of course, everyone goes crazy for Batman, whether the movie is good or not. So, Batman will pretty much always. So I think Superman will pretty much always be a good mover, particularly if the film's really good, which I hope James Gunn's Superman is. But yeah, I don't think they're going to fit together, Dean, right now. I mean, I think Joker and Batman are all on sort of separate timelines and such. So, I think it's definitely just a different thing. But, as far as Marvel is concerned, I'm still hopeful. I mean, I still obviously have my Marvel collection. Most of it, of course, is phases 1 through 3. I mean, I have Shang-Chi and Wenwu. Obviously, they're phase 4. But phase 4 or 5, I don't know. I get lost in it at this point. But essentially, yeah, like they're great. I love those figures. And, this Moon Knight, for example, is a good choice. Of course, we have No Way Home, like I mentioned, with the Peter Parker and Andrew and Tom and all the other ones. And I'm going to get that Tom Holland final red and blue suit. So there are still some bangers in there to keep people attentive. I know, again, people have been asking about the Loki because Loki season 2, putting Marvel back on the map. I'm glad that people are finally recognizing Loki as an elite level character.
Was the episode this week the final episode this
final
season?
episode? Yeah.
Okay, I haven't watched it yet. I meant to watch it before the show, and
Dude, you gotta watch it now. Did you watch it yet? Dang, you haven't even watched the show, have you? Damn.
Wow, it's pretty good. I
It's
like
really
it.
good. It's really
Yeah.
good.
And
Not just
when
because I'm a Loki fan.
the new season, when episode 1 came out for season 2, I watched it and I was like, I'm gonna go back and watch season 1 because I don't really remember. Season 1's pretty fucking good. I really like
is.
season 1.
It
I do
was.
too,
It was
Dean.
good. It was.
Yeah,
It's-
a lot of
But
people. I know a
this-
lot of people like season 2 more, but
This literally ties into what we were just talking about. Like when Marvel starts to become so not good, like how many people are tuning in for the next one and the next one.
that's what's been
And
happening.
I'm a huge Marvel fan. I'm a diehard Marvel fan. And even I am like, well, it's nothing that I'm gonna miss. Like I could just wait. I have tickets to go see tomorrow, the Marvels, right? But I'm just I'll wait.
Let me ask you this, because it seems I haven't really found anyone with a differing opinion, but I'm just interested to see what you guys say.
Yeah.
Because everyone is always like, oh, it's superhero burnout, it's Star Wars burnout. Is it, or is it just badly written stories?
I don't
'Cause
think so.
I would fucking eat up. I mean, I still do eat up Star Wars, and then I'm usually disappointed. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
I don't think it's burnout, Dean, because look at how well, from what I've heard, Invincible is doing. Of course, The Boys continues to do well. I mean, I think Pattinson Batman did well. I mean, Joker's not a superhero, but it's a comic book film, right? So I mean, that made
Yeah.
$1 billion. I mean, I don't think it's burnout at all. I think it's people want to see something different. I think that's why Marvel's in a tough spot. They don't want to see the exact same Marvel formula again, but they also don't want it to be too different. So it's like it's somewhere in between. But I don't think it's burnout. I think people will eat up superhero content as long as the writing is good, and a lot of the writing has been mid.
Yeah.
Because my whole thing is like people have been buying superhero books since the fucking 50s.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
people aren't burnt out of it. You're just making not good stuff.
Yeah. There's no such thing as being burnt out when there is literally a humongous fandom that is dedicated to. People go out of their way to spend hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars to create costumes to replicate themselves in versions of the things that they love. They go and they stand in lines for hours to join Comic-Con. Like, no, there's no such thing as burnout when it comes to this genre of fandom.
I will say, though, the one thing I will sort of clarify, I do think there's a Marvel burnout a little bit, just because I feel like they have oversaturated their brand a little bit, and that's made the quality dip.
There's
so
an oversaturation of market.
But as far as like what you guys are saying, as far as the market, the genre of superhero films, no. But I will say that what Marvel has done with making and again, it might be good, who knows, but making an Echo show, making an Agatha Harkness show, like a lot of that stuff feels like, whether it's good or not, I don't think people will really watch it en masse because it's too much. I didn't even watch Miss Marvel at all, and I heard it's good because it's just like it's so.
I
much
like Miss Marvel.
Yeah, I heard it's good.
I thought it was a great story.
But it's just like there's so much. So I think Marvel, in which they're going to dial it back, make less shows, make maybe 2 to 3 movies a year like they were doing, make them really high quality. That's, I think, what they need to do. And then the figures will sort of take care of themselves from there. We'll get some good stuff. And I mean, it's just Loki, I think, still has people excited. So it still shows that people are committed to Marvel as long as they can expect consistency of quality.
I will say this. I really do enjoy season 2 Loki, but I can't think of a single figure I would get from it.
Not even that final one. I won't mention it, but not even that final one.
I mean, like, Ouroboros is a cool guy, but he's like in a jumpsuit. Or again,
oh wait, you haven't seen the final episode. Never mind.
Mobius,
I won't mention it.
It's just a guy in a suit.
You'll
Loki
see, Dean. I think that might change.
like
I think your opinion
longer
might change when I think your opinion might change when you watch the finale. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It just seems kind of like.
But short of that, yes, because the Loki TVA figure is really, really good, but it's kind of like bland. It's just him in like a suit, So it's kind of it's not.
But so is season 2. I think he's just wearing a black long coat.
It's pretty much the same. Yeah.
It's like, okay, I guess. And then Sylvie's not even in an outfit this season. She's in like robes. Like,
right.
It's just kind of like, why would I buy any of these figures if
they're not toyetic? Right.
Yeah, they don't translate to like great figures.
It's not like looking at a Cad Bane where you're like, this is fucking cool. Yeah, or or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I can't even think of like accessories you could give Loki. I don't think he's used his daggers at all. This, from what I've seen.
No, yeah, he doesn't.
Yeah, I can't.
Well, but
it's like great show, but no collectability.
It's kind of, I saw a comparison. Someone said it's like Marvel's Andor, kind of Like, you know what I mean?
Sure.
It's like it kind of almost doesn't feel like super Marvel, but it's really good. And it's kind of how Andor is. Like it almost feels like almost outside of Star Wars, but it's so good. Like it's But I don't
That's
know.
fair.
I think it works. It's just different themes and stuff. But yeah, so anyway, guys, thank you so much for your thoughts on that one. That was a fun topic to discuss. Again, I think Marvel is just in an interesting spot right now, and I do hope they right the ship, and I do believe they will. But you know, we're gonna let us know your thoughts. If you've seen the Marvels, don't put any spoilers in the chat. But if you've seen it, let us know in the comments below what you're thinking about it, and we'll talk about it. So